Hi, it's Kara with Green Heart Glowing. I am an autistic energy reader, and I am here to do an energy reading for the collective. I'm going to start here with a little angel card. Okay. Tenderness. Cute. And I'd like to pull from this deck today. Now, when I pull this card, whatever comes up in you right away, that's what the card is talking to you about. That's why I love pulling cards. There's already something in you that is wanting to have you listen to it. Okay. This is funny. Ready? Time for a nap. Okay, so that's funny to me. But I would be curious what situation came to mind for you. Because I bet if you're a human being on the planet right now, it's probably likely that you're in burnout of some kind. So, yeah, let's read what the meaning of this card is. Not that we really need one, but essential meanings: rest, rejuvenation, and renewal, temporary non-action, allowing dreams to rise. You are a human being, not a human doing. Is it possible you're suffering from workaholism? Could you be the one who thinks it's your job to save everyone, to be there for everyone, and to go, go, go until you can barely see straight? You've gone as far as you can. You've worked hard and nourished people and projects, but now you are an empty well and have no reserves for others or for yourself. Don't let your ego keep you going full speed when your body and spirit need rest. Exhaustion is calling you to stop what you're doing altogether and take a break. If you don't, the appearance of this card could portend a possible illness that stems from being totally overwhelmed. You will feel like a new person if you take that break. Do it now. Interesting. Of course, I could always use a card like that. Okay, today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I had someone ask me a question. I thought answering it on this video would make sense and just kind of see what comes up from the question and then from the transmission of answering it. They've been feeling really off lately, like they're going through the motions, but something doesn't feel right. I don't feel connected to myself. I can't tell if I'm tired or something deeper is going on. And I don't know how to go forward when everything feels foggy. So in the last couple of videos, I've talked about that we have this big shift happening globally, spiritually, individually. And it began in 2020. This kind of like death and rebirth of the old self, the old world, into this new place that we're heading towards. And one thing coming up for me is that when life shifts suddenly, that can be grounds for a trauma response to come up in us. And trauma can be experienced in different nervous systems, in different bodies, in different ways. Some of those ways can actually be dissociation and a fogginess due to disconnecting from reality in order to survive the situation. And there's this feeling like 2020 happened, we're now in 2025, but the nervous systems floated above the reality of the emotion, of the stress and trauma, and have sort of split off from integrating into the reality and the body, the emotional body, the physical body. There's this floating feeling going on with a lot of people in the world right now. And what's not helping is a lot of mental addictions. Okay. So, of course, I'm going to name social media mental addiction, one of the biggest. Watching a lot of the news stuff happening, a lot of just where you cannot get out of the looping of where the mind wants you to stay versus dropping down and being in the body and in the emotion and in the experience of reality, which we can argue what is reality, but there is at least a need to begin reconnecting these places, because at some point, dissociation helps you survive, because the trauma can be so severe that living through the trauma is just, it can almost be worse. And so it is wise sometimes for people to check out. When I say wise, I mean it's a built-in mechanism for us to survive, get through something, and then once we've gotten through it, then we come back in and we start healing and processing. But what I'm feeling and seeing is that people haven't gotten here yet, or they're not even conscious that they're here. And it doesn't help to have so much at our hands now, where we can just never be here. We can only ever, the second something feels uncomfortable, it's so just quick to grab the phone and check out into that world. And so something needs to interrupt that pattern in order for these places to start reconnecting in our lives, so that healing can begin, the transformation can begin. It's like everyone kind of is in this place where, okay, what's next? What am I doing next? And what is my reason for being here? I don't feel like I'm doing the thing that I'm called here to do. But if these parts are still are being ignored, this disconnect, this is where you have to start with slowly, gently, honestly coming back to earth, bringing it back down into the body. So to sort of answer this question, which wasn't really a question, but you know what I'm saying, and also tie together where I feel like all of this is right now, there is a great need, not as a collective, but as an individual, for each of us to begin finding ways back to our body and back down to the ground, back to the earth. And that is probably a process that needs a lot of time and tenderness and rest and recalibration, because it can feel so jarring. You can't rush that experience of healing and reconnecting. You have to take it really slowly. I was also talking to a friend this week about the idea of following breadcrumbs of just those small moments where something lights you up. And it doesn't have to light you up a lot, but noticing and begin checking in with the body when you're going about your day and choosing different things to do. Like if you get on your phone and go on Instagram, even before you go onto Instagram, or even as you're grabbing the phone, stop and check, like, what does your body feel like? Is it light and uplifted, or is it heavy and constricted? Because your body's speaking to you all the time, and it wants to share with you when you're out of alignment with yourself. But so much of what we do is just bypass that and go ahead and use the mind to get more dopamine and that kind of feedback loop that we keep connecting into. But there are also those times with our day where something will make us feel light and happy. Like I've been more connected right now with walking to a different path than I usually would go on, because the path that I go for walks a lot, and the path that I was walking on got very heavy for me because I had a big life transition happen recently, and that path carried a lot of that energy. And so where that path used to be very healing and nurturing for me, it suddenly switched and got heavy. But mentally, if I weren't paying attention to what my body was saying, mentally, I would say, that's the place that always makes me feel happy and nurtured and good. I should keep going there. But when I was checking in with myself, I was feeling heavy, tight, sad, stressed. And so I started asking myself, what would feel lighter? And I started listening to what my body was asking me to do, and I went and started walking on a different path. And that path has been extremely helpful and healing for me within the last couple of months. And it's something that subtle where you want to slow down enough to where you can even just hear those shifts within yourself and start following the ones that feel lighter, and start removing the ones that feel heavy. And I think that can be something that will be very individual for everybody. And a lot of times I think people stop themselves from doing the other thing that feels lighter because maybe it just doesn't even make sense into their life at the time. Like, oh, I want to take up whatever, I want to learn a new language, or I want to go try knitting, or things that feel like sort of almost disconnected from what life you're currently living. But those are threads, and those are breadcrumbs, and those are things that your body is starting to ask you to move towards in order to bring yourself back down into alignment from this lifted out place that so many of us have gotten to, and integrate back into the very wise system that is our body, mind, and spirit, all working together, and finding the balance between all of those instead of mind taking up so much of the current energy that we're living in. So yeah, I think that'll be the end of that transmission. Hopefully some of that made sense for you. And I'm going to end this. It's long enough already, but I'm going to end this by reading a quote because I love reading quotes. When we have become very still, when there is an inner silence as complete as death, then, as in the grave, we hear the rare, superfine whispering of the new direction. The intelligence comes. After the pain of being destroyed in all our old securities that we used to call peace, after the pain and death of our destruction in the old life, comes the inward suggestion of fulfillment in the new. And that's from D.H. Lawrence. What a great quote to end the transmission. Thank you so much for being here. I hope I didn't just hit that and make a sound. If I did, I'm going to learn. This is the first video that I have a microphone on. And I will be back with another energy reading soon. And I appreciate you sharing some of your energy with me today.